Someone forgot to mute their mic.
Oh dear.
Ah, I was muted. I was so excited there.
I was about to introduce instead of you because you were waffling away for a second.
Well, what I said was yes, people. Here we go. This is the big one. The one we've been waiting for. We've been previewing. You know what? If you had asked me, I don't know, 2 months ago, if I would have cared as much about this game, I probably would have been like, yes, I always care about this game, but I wouldn't have felt good about it. You know what I mean? I would have probably been like, yeah, it's Liverpool. We'll see. We'll probably be a couple 10 points behind. I don't know. Now I'm excited, guys. I don't know about you, but now I'm genuinely excited. This has been a fixture that has been kind of dead in the last few years because there hasn't been much riding on it other than bragging rights, which is always important. Beating Liverpool is always important. That I will not downplay that. But it's so much sweeter when it means something. I'm going to start with Ahmed because I know my co-host here. Well, you know what? I'm going to introduce everybody. Let me introduce everybody, but we got the full panel on right now. We have Ahmed, we've got Alexi, we've got Dan, and we've got Noah, of course. Going to bring some crazy stats. But yes, I'm going to start with Ahmed.
Yeah.
Ahmed, let me hear your thoughts on this. Let me hear your thoughts on the game. How you feeling?
Well, first of all, good to be back. I didn't watch this week's game against Burnley because I had other matters, but it was nice to see we won. It was nice to see that we're back on top of the table. Now, obviously, Noah and Cam will know, but Dan and Alexi have never heard this from me before. While I love us being first, and I enjoy us being first, I still think we're a Champions League team and we should focus on that first before we think about other things. So I'm just portraying that out now before you guys think I'm ludicrously saying some nonsense. But no, United have been great. I've really enjoyed watching them play football recently, and especially the form they've been keeping up in the last few weeks is just astounding to watch. It is quite frustrating at times to have thought we've been putting all our hopes and our prayers on this one event, which has probably played our minds for the last 12 months. And for it to now be 24 hours away, and we are now seriously talking about possibly being 6 points clear Liverpool tomorrow is quite astounding. So for me, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that it's a good performance, a team that I have such faith in getting a result against a side, probably one of the best in Europe on their day. Today, though, it has to be United's woof day, and if they're not barking, I don't know what's going on.
So it's a draw that's been pretty much in favor of United, just not in the last few years. We've won 80, they've won 67. There's been 57 draws. Noah, how are you feeling about the game? How do you feel about Ollie's record versus Klopp, which isn't that great, if we're going to be honest? How do you feel? How do you think Ollie's going to approach this game? How do you think the Red Devils should go at this one?
It's going to be a very intriguing game, obviously, with the way that Manchester United have found themselves this season at the top of the table going into this game. As you said, if you would have asked me at the start of the season whether Manchester United would be competing with the likes of Liverpool, Manchester City, etc., I would have said no way. Whilst we finished third last season, we finished third hanging by a thread. We had to do it by the last game of the season against Leicester away. And I wasn't very optimistic with how our summer went with signings, and I wouldn't have said we'd be in this position. But we're here. Some people will say we fluked it with our penalties, Klopp himself. But we're here. I'm back in Solskjaer for this. I'm looking forward to it. And it's going to be a very intriguing game because obviously we all know that because this game's at Anfield, Liverpool do have the best Premier League home record this season. I think they've won 7 games and drawn 1 out of 8, and they've got no losses. So in that respect, you'd kind of say United are the underdogs. But when you look at the injury records that Liverpool have on their books right now, with the likes of Van Dijk, Joe Gomez, Matip, practically their whole defence, in a way, taken out, and the way that Manchester United are playing with no fear and full of confidence with the likes of Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, and so many more world-class players when we used to play with Andres Pereira, Jesse Lingard, and Fred as a box-to-box midfielder, it's much more optimistic. But, I'm looking forward to it. Do I think we're going to win? No. But I think we can definitely get a result, as Ahmed said. And, Manchester United should go into it with confidence. They shouldn't feel like they're the underdogs. It's at Anfield, but I want them to go to Anfield. I want them to score, a 94th minute penalty from Bruno right in the Kop. That's what I want to see. I want to see him, literally hold your arms out, collect the Liverpool tears. Just collect them. Get a whole bucket. Because that's what I'm going to be wanting to see from Manchester United. But it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game for sure.
Dan, I want to ask you. I'm sure you've seen the mind games played by Mr. Klopp coming up to this game, talking about the penalties, kind of downplaying, trying to get in the ref's head. Do you feel that's going to have an impact on the refereeing? We've seen Clattenburg come out and say some pretty shocking stuff, if we're going to be honest, that would not help us going in. How do you think that's going to impact the game? Do you think Ollie's going to panty mind to it? You're muted. You're on mute, bro.
Oh, yeah, sorry. First time doing this. I mean, it's difficult to say with referees at the minute because you're not only sort of worrying about the referee's decision, you're also thinking about what the VAR is going to do in terms of changing the referee's decision or sticking by him. So I think really it just boils down to that day, that moment, and who's actually officiating VAR as well. I think that Clattenburg, you're right, he sometimes has come across as maybe one of the referees that doesn't necessarily favour United. Maybe it's not right to say that referees favour any team, but it's sometimes absolutely. It's difficult. I just hope that we see a really good game, and like Noah said as well, hopefully we'll collect some Liverpool fans' tears. For me, on a personal level as well, I'll be collecting my partner's dad's tears because he's a Liverpool fan. So yeah, really hoping that we can gloat about this one for a while to come.
All right, I want to get into a little bit of the tactics and kind of. This is good. I feel like we're going to be on this for a bit, especially with the lineups and kind of the danger men on both sides who we think should start. Alexi, I know we've kind of been rotating the squad a lot, and in my opinion, this seems like a game. I actually think, based on what Ollie's done, that Scott and Fred are going to start. How do you feel? Who do you think should be starting? And let's start with the midfield. I want to start with the midfield, and then we'll work our way back down and get back up to the strikers, and we'll move around. But who do you think should be starting in that midfield? Me personally, I'm just going to say from the jump, I would like to see us play Pogba. I do not think we will. I believe he'll come off the bench, and I think it'll be Scott, Fred, and Bruno. But what do you think, Alexi?
I think tactically it's a very interesting game because I was looking back at some games Liverpool have lost this season, and I looked at the Southampton game and the Atlanta game, and both of those games were against teams with two up front. So I think we'll definitely have two up front. I mean, midfield-wise, it's either going to be McTominay and Fred and Bruno. I mean, I think that seems guaranteed to me. But if it's a diamond, I guess you could have Pogba in there. But it depends. If it is a diamond, I think Pogba will play, but I don't think he would play if he hadn't played as well in the previous games, like the last couple of games, because he's been so good. I don't think Ollie, in his mind, a couple of weeks ago, was thinking, I'm going to play Pogba at Anfield, because Pogba, against a team that's pressing as much as Liverpool do, maybe isn't ideal, but on the left of a diamond, he might be an option. But the way he played against Burnley, he's definitely played himself into form, and he probably does deserve the play. But I just the way this game will be, I don't know if it will suit him as well as a game against Burnley would.
Yeah, I would like to see Pogba. I would personally like to see him come off the bench just because of what you just said. I think the press is going to be on early. I think Liverpool is going to try and put us under a lot of pressure early. And Pogba's biggest flaw is that he likes to linger on the ball far too long. In my opinion, that's his one. That's for me. I think Pogba's basically the complete player. But when he gets into his FIFA mind and he starts thinking about the step overs and looking up and just trying to make that killer pass every time instead of just moving the ball, it does hurt us when we're pressed. He looked good against Burnley and such, and I do believe the form he's in, I wouldn't be surprised to see him start, but I haven't loved the diamond. I know we were crying out for it at the start of the season because we wanted to see a way where Donny gets into the squad. But that hasn't happened with the diamond. It's just been instead now Pogba goes out on the left and we have the other three midfielders. But I personally think it's going to be. I actually don't think Ollie's going to do anything too crazy. Ahmed, what are you expecting from Ollie's tactics? How do you think he's going to set up?
Well, I want to see that diamond work in a fashion that I saw us do against Başakşehir in the Champions League this season. Not the one where we had that horrible night, but the one we won 4-1. That worked very well, but he will always stick with his big name players. He will always stick with the McTominays and the Freds from the outset. You will expect to see them in that team tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised to have Pogba playing in that role on the left either. I think we will expect. I expect him to do that thing where he will play up the field. He'll try and develop the game and give the team as much support as possible in that final third, and not have to work so hard defensively, which is quite annoying at times. But Liverpool right now don't have a lot of options in defense, which is obvious. All their injuries compound to the side not being as strong as it used to be defensively. I mean, recently Southampton was a good example. They risked playing a few at the back. And for me, I feel like we should get as much opportunities as possible to get the ball out to Pogba, and then Rashford and Marcel should make the run in behind. McTominay and Fred, I trust them to do well. And if the game needs some the pace to be killed out of it, get Matic on, make sure he can slow the game down, get that ball around, and not allow the high press to overwhelm United, because that was a lot of hassle for us last season. The high press that Liverpool always seem to play, wide as the world could be. They will always swarm their opponent. They will always give their opponent a hard time. So for United, Pogba's important tomorrow. Luke Shaw is important tomorrow, because last season he played left centre back. He's going to be a natural left back tomorrow. Getting the ball out of our third, I think essentially is equally as important as scoring, because if we can't clear the ball, and I've seen a lot of that from teams in the league this season, if we can't get that ball out of our third, Liverpool will be happy with Thiago to play it back into that area and start a new attack. And for United to recycle the ball tomorrow is also very important. So you've got to be strong in possession. You've got to deal with any imminent threat. And hopefully the balls into the box that we keep conceding from frequently, those ones that flash in front of Maguire and co, I don't want us to see that. So you never know. If Ollie goes with, however, his tried and tested system of 4-2-3-1, I think there are benefits there too. Because the team know how to play that system, and we've been none the wiser. He knows his team. He knows the players that he can trust to do well. We just gotta hope they deliver on the day.
Yeah. So the swarm thing you said in the past, that would have worried me. If I'm not gonna lie, and I like this comment from Ole Gunnar Slash. I agree. I don't think Ole knows how to properly coach the diamond yet. And I'm not saying it's because he's not a good coach, but I do believe that his system has been 4-2-3-1 even at Molde, and that's just something he's grown into, and he knows how to properly coach. And we're seeing like some growing pains when he does go with the diamond. But in terms of the swarming, and what I'll say is about this team that we've seen, and this is to also piggyback off of Noah saying they have the best home form, or we have the best away form. And the reason being is we have run teams into the ground, in the sense of our fitness levels by the end of most games. You can see Ollie, when he first came in, and this is years ago, the first thing he said was, this squad is not fit enough. This is not a squad that I'm used to. He's not used to his United team not running more than the other squad. The way Jose played was very much sit back. You didn't have to move a lot. With the way Ollie played that last game against Burnley, how many guys were on the ground at the end, cramping, holding? These guys look like they gave it all, and I believe that's going to be a big favor for us when it comes to the Liverpool press, because they're going to press high, they're going to press often, and they don't have the defense that they need to stop us from countering. What I do not want to see is us be naive and go in there and think we can play with Liverpool. And that's not saying we're not good enough. I just think Liverpool, they still deserve the respect when it comes to that front three. And if we get caught out, we know I'm going to say this right now. The back four that I'm picking is going to be Shaw, Maguire, Bailly, and AWB. But the problem is, if Bailly doesn't start, will get caught out. That is what I'm worried about. If Bailly doesn't start, we'll get caught out. And I think up top, this is where I want to ask everybody. I want everybody to tell me who they want their front three to be, but I want the front three to be Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood. And the reason I say that is because I want Cavani to come off the bench. Cavani, what he did against Southampton, he sat and watched the game, and he came in and instantly knew exactly what he needed to do, the spaces he needed to fill in to turn that game around. I think bringing a Cavani and a Telles on can completely change a game, and that's what I'm hoping for, and the same with Pogba. That's why I would like those three as subs, because I don't think we will be up early. Who would you select as your front three in this tie?
Well, I would say the same, Cam. I would agree with you, because the big thing that I think Manchester United need to do tomorrow against Liverpool is interchange into like when they're defending and when they're attacking, because this Liverpool team is not the same Liverpool team that we faced last year at Anfield. They have weaknesses, but they also have a lot of strengths. Going back to how I used to say Manchester United were a couple of months ago, Liverpool are very top heavy right now. They've got great attacking creative players in the likes of Mohamed Salah and Mane, but then they've got the creative genius in Thiago, who can pick out a pass from anything. Same as Paul Pogba. So you need to watch those kind of areas, and I think for me, I'd like to see a 4-2-3-1, because when you're defending, you have those 6 men back, and with the likes of McTominay and potentially Matic, for example, if you wanted to use those two, it gives a lot of height and it gives a lot of strength and defensive awareness to De Gea and the back four that would allow them to cope with that pressure that Liverpool can bring. But obviously, when you're attacking, you want to be quick on the ball, and you want to create space from nothing really. And I completely agree that Cavani should probably not start and come off the bench, because one thing I've noticed with Cavani is that when he started, he's never scored. Whenever he's come off the bench, he's made an instant impact.
That's a good point.
And some people will put it down to his age, the fact that he can't last a full game in the Premier League. I think it's more that Solskjaer has found a striker that he can relate to himself as a player, and he sees himself in Cavani, and he sees the impact that Cavani can make, similar to what he used to do for Manchester United. Solskjaer was always credited as a striker for his amazing movement in the box. And, when Beckham would put a ball into the box, he would always be alert, always be lively in the box and making things happen. And that is exactly what Cavani did, as you said, against Southampton. If we had Martial up top in that position, Cavani would not score. He just wouldn't, because he doesn't have that killer instinct in that movement as for a natural centre forward. And I think for a Liverpool defence that's going to be tired late on into the game, and for a Liverpool defence that's inexperienced, because they are lacking, I think they're going to be lacking Matip. I'm not too sure about that one. He could still potentially play.
Said he's a doubt.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying that he might not play, and they might have to use. I'm going to have to look this, lads. I do apologise.
Reece Williams or something.
Yeah, Reece Williams, Matt Phillips. Yeah, I don't know too much about Scousers.
I can help on this one.
Okay.
So privately, working on a behind the scenes at a Champions League game early this season when Liverpool met Michelin, and that night Reece Williams actually played the game when Fabinho got injured. So he came on, and pretty much for a young lad, pretty big responsibility when you're 2 to 3 senior centre halves are out injured for one long term, one more or less in that time, an unideal injury. He did step up to the play. He played very well. And since then, Jurgen Klopp's gone on to trust him a lot more. Now, I think he's getting a lot more of an understanding now of his role in the team. He is technically I'm not going to tempt fate here, but he is practically their replacement for Van Dijk. They're not going to sign a replacement in this window, so they'll have to recruit from within. And he's taken the responsibility on brilliantly. In the Champions League this season, he's made 3 appearances, and he's kept a clean sheet in 2 matches. So he's definitely got some potential. He tackles well. He's aerially very solid. He can be a hassle to deal with when you're a striker. But he's got experience of Fabinho next to him, who's done brilliantly all season. So while their centre-backs are not the most, natural or the most, fluid in the game, Fabinho's clean-up job applies to his centre half role. He does that one equally as well as he does in midfield. It's more or less you target Rhys Williams and the defensive frailties that Alexander-Arnold can deliver, then you're leaving him exposed to United's attack. And like I just want to sound off quickly on what Noah said. The Cavani thing, I suggest the same. I would like him to watch the game. Just see where he can exploit the young lad. Or he's played against Fabinho before in France, and he knows how to play against him there too. He's been on the winning side against Monaco when Fabinho's been in the team on 4 occasions. So there is a lot to learn for Fabinho in a Liverpool shirt to the Cavani that he played against in Ligue 1. So you can't rely on the same team working its magic for Liverpool, working its magic all the time. There are people that come in and have to fill in a role or two. Part of me wishes we had Henderson in centre back tomorrow because half our job would have been done.
Go on, Noah.
I just wanted to reply with what Ahmed said, and it's a great point. But you're saying that Rhys Williams is similar to Van Dijk. Well, whilst you're saying that like his height and his awareness is obviously a good thing for Liverpool to have.
He's not as world class. Let me just stress that.
I know. I'm just saying that one thing that Van Dijk did struggle with, and one thing that his game lacked, particularly against Manchester United when he was playing against the likes of Marcus Rashford, is pace and fluidity alongside the front three. Because when you've got 3 players such as Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood, as Cam suggested, and I think Man United should use in a 4-2-3-1 up front, it's very difficult to manage who's going to be the striker and who's going to be playing the through ball and who's going to be making the run. And for someone that's quite young and inexperienced, I think that benefits Manchester United greatly when they already know how to play like that. Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood can do that interchange role really well. Obviously, Martial is a fantastic hold-up player. I've been saying it for weeks and weeks that his hold-up play is some of the best in the Premier League. And I think that would really benefit Manchester United, allow them to get in behind. And obviously bringing on someone like Cavani would just cause more problems. And, giving him time to watch the game developing and picking up like areas and how to exploit Liverpool would be great. So, I'm not saying that Manchester United should walk in and think, oh, we're going to smash them 3-0 for our forward play. I'm not. But this is not the same Liverpool team. And I'm sure Ollie will tell the players, and particularly the forward players, that they can go in there and be confident and, get in behind. Specifically, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Marcus Rashford. I mean, we all know what happened that day at Old Trafford when we won with Mourinho. So who knows what we can do with Solskjaer? So in that respect, I'm optimistic. I'm sure Ollie can at least score 1 or 2 goals and potentially get a point. But obviously, this Liverpool team, as I said, are very top heavy and they do have a lot of attacking threat, which we do need to be careful of. So the overall question you're asking, Cam. I do agree that Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood should start up front, but I also agree that United should use a 4-2-3-1 to cope with the immense pressure that Liverpool can bring, because they do have a lot of it.
It's nice hearing you guys talk and say we can bring on Cavani, we can bring on Pogba or one starts or Donny. Isn't that great? Like, you think that's just beautiful? I think back to the times and I look over at the bench and it'd be like,
guys,
I guess we got Uncle Iggy. I guess
I brought this up in the last show I was on, but let me give you the team that played against us. We played against them with last season at Anfield. Remember, this is a different team to the one that played against them last season. But nevertheless, De Gea was in goal that day. We played a back three of Lindelof, Maguire, and Shaw, with Williams and Wan-Bissaka as wing backs, Fred and Matic in the middle, and then obviously we had no Rashford because he was injured at the time. Bruno hadn't come yet, so it was Pereira, James, and Martial. So the less said about that, the better.
I like seeing Alexi's face there, just being like, "Huh." You can see the pain thinking about it.
It's horrible. The bench wasn't any better, to be honest. Dallo,
How did we actually tolerate that?
How? Only we know. And we sat there and watched us literally get clumped by Liverpool. And
we didn't have a chance either. We didn't have a chance in that game. But this time, I thought we're going to have chances. We're going to have some chances. Yeah,
Alexi, I got a question. Who do you think we seeing after hearing that segue of? Wow. Whenever I hear that team, I think, how did I watch Happily last few years. But Alexi, who do you think we should be starting up front, or you're starting 11, the formation? How do you feel we should approach the game? I know a lot of people think Cavani could start, and I don't think that's wrong. I'm just curious if there's any other feelings on your end. Oh, he's frozen. All right.
Just between what I want to happen and what I think will happen.
There you go. He's back.
What I think will happen is probably a diamond. I think it'll be De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Bailly, Shaw, Fred, McTominay, either Pogba or Van der Beek, probably Pogba. And then I think realistic forward line wise, you're looking at Marshall and Rashford, I think. He'll do a front.
I lost you on that last one. Hold on, Alexi. I'm gonna try this because I'm gonna put him back there, and then I'll add him back. See when he comes back.
So Dan, just take him out the show, just like that.
This is it's the only way to get it to refresh. Dan, what are you thinking for the front three tomorrow? The attack, and who's our danger man? Who's the most likely to score? Is a question I've been.
Who's the most likely to score? I mean, if we get a penalty, Bruno Fernandes. But no, I mean, listen, even, taking penalties out of the equation, I think he's still the danger man. We've seen him take many long shots, and a few of them have gone in. He likes to hit the ball. He likes to take his chances. So I think that, he's the one really, even though I know he's not one of the front three, I think he's one of the guys that Liverpool really genuinely have to worry about in terms of a goal-scoring threat from the midfield. From the front three, I think I'm going to echo what you guys have said. You're looking at Rashford, Martial, if he's fit, because obviously he had his hamstring issue. It seems like he should be fine. And Greenwood out on the right. Definitely Greenwood out on the right, by the way, because I don't think Rashford was comfortable out on the right.
No, I agree.
It just didn't suit him.
Completely agree.
Yeah. So I think he's going to be back out on the left for sure. And like you said, hopefully he can turn Alexander-Arnold inside out like he did that time, which was good for us to watch. Just going on to that point with Alexander-Arnold, by the way, you were talking earlier about the aerial threat and the balls that are going to be coming into the box. I absolutely agree. I think that the key to Liverpool potentially having any chance of winning this game is going to be through the wing backs, more so than ever, just purely because of the difficulties that they are having centrally. Firmino's not really he's scored a couple of goals recently, but he's not been in the form that he was, say, 2 seasons ago. So I do think that they're going to be super important, but I also think that is going to benefit us with Rashford being out on the left, because we do really tend to create chances on the counter-attack when we are being pressed. But actually, I think that it's sort of flipped this season. I think that at the very start of the season, we struggled against teams that sat back and that didn't really apply pressure. And we did really well on the counter-attack against teams that pressured us. But actually, I think as the season's gone along, I think in a way it's almost flipped. I think if you look at teams that pressure us now, we tend to actually do worse against those teams and better against the teams that sit back. And I think that's more down to the creative fluidity that we've sort of built as the season's gone along. I think that the players are gelling really well. I think it also boils down to, again, we've spoken about in Pogba's being fantastic over the past couple of weeks when he does get the ball out of his feet and doesn't dawdle. So yeah, and I think that Cavani coming off the bench is exactly what we need. His work rate is incredible. You see him week in, week out. He is running up, down, left, right. The guy just doesn't stop. And for what is he, 33, 34?
34.
Yeah. I mean, that's fantastic work rate. So I think actually for him to come on for the last 20, 25 minutes to apply even more pressure, I think it'd be a good opportunity for us to get a late goal if we really need it.
Yeah, just quickly on that, Dan. You made a really good point about how Liverpool, if they were going to succeed in this match, they'd need their fullbacks, and I do agree. They with Manchester United potentially playing either a diamond or a 4-2-3-1, they're going to have a lot of like cover in the middle. So to go down the wing past Luke Shaw or Wan-Bissaka would probably be their best bet. But one thing that would probably benefit United with this one, and this is a stat from I think their 1-0 loss to Southampton. Trent Alexander-Arnold in particular, he lost the ball when he was off the ball 38 times in their last league game. And then he was subbed off after 77 minutes. So he's not in good form right now. And for Liverpool, as you said, to really apply pressure for Manchester United in this game, to have their fullbacks off the pace is, could when Trent's off the pace attacking wise, what's he going to be like defending? You got to think that as well. So I think whilst Manchester United shouldn't go into this game full of confidence because this, as I said, have so many key players, as I'm sure we'll go into a little bit on what they could bring attacking wise with the Thiagos and the Salahs. They've got a lot of fragilities, and I think Ollie needs to go into this and think, how can we expose them and expose them well? Because I think, this is probably the best chance we've had in years to pick up a full 3 points at Anfield. So I hope Ollie does feel a bit confident in that. And it's a great point that you made about the fullbacks. I just wanted to add that to that. So,
I would love to see us attack Trent all game long with Rashford. Just run at him all game. That's what I want to see. I want to see us put pressure on them enough that they're not always in pole position. Like I said, I don't want to be naive and leave ourselves open in the back, but I do want to see us put pressure, especially down that left-hand side. Also, I forgot to mention, if you're watching back, if you're live, like, subscribe the video. I always forget. You need to remind me on that stuff.
I do often, don't I? But yes, as always, like, share, subscribe. If you want to follow, retweet. We're trying our best to grow here, everyone. So show us a bit of love. Cam gives up his time up in Canada in lockdown to do these things. So to drag him out of bed is the hard task as it is.
Yeah, true. I mean, I got drunk last night. That's why I was up early. I won't lie.
There we go.
Robbie was like, "Yo, can you be up early and get the schedule?" I'm like, "Yo, I'm gonna be up at 11 o'clock, maybe 10. We'll see." I woke up early and I had to go back to sleep.
He does not look like a man that's hungover, ladies and gentlemen. So
no, I'm doing good.
He served himself well.
Relatable sessions on Trafford Talk here, ladies and gentlemen. That's
very much.
I wanted to talk about the danger men on the Liverpool side, because realistically, I mean, we probably would all think off the top it's Mo Salah, right? But he's only scored, I think, once against us. I may be wrong about that, but I believe it was that late goal, which was so annoying. I won't lie. That one that went over the top, and it was when we were pressing hard, and then he took his shirt off, and I wanted to strangle him. Obviously, he's a lot more jacked than me, so that wouldn't go well. But I do believe, for me, I'm not as worried about Mo Salah tomorrow because AWB's on. I think it's AW or Luke Shaw's on his side. Either way, both. I'm confident in both of our fullbacks. I'm worried about Mane, and I'll say why. Even though Mane has been dead this season, he's out of form. That is why I'm actually scared, because Mane with Virgil van Dijk gone is their best aerial threat. That big forehead of his head, like he gets it on some balls, and him and Firmino both have great, both have really good aerial duels, and they do put a lot past. I think this year Firmino has like one of his best goals was a header. Mane has, I think, a header, one of his only goals, and that's who I'm worried about the most. It's going to be Mane on their end for me, and actually Alisson. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think this is one of those games where we always talk about keepers turning into prime X when they play us. I think Alisson might be on. If Alisson's on his day tomorrow, we will have a little bit of a problem. But I don't know if you guys agree. I'm curious who you guys think the danger men are on the other side. Just jump in. I don't care who goes first.
Easy. The top for me is easily Mo Salah. Reason why, right now, Premier League, one of the Premier League's top scorers, 13 goals this season. He has been a clinical scorer for them since the start of the year, and his performances remain consistent. He's averaging, I believe, per game, I think, shots, about 3 or 4 shots per game. So this is a player who still being criticised heavily for his lack of productivity and helping scoring goals, is still in more or less doing the job of scoring them. And is definitely a moot step better than Firmino is right now, who can't seem to find the net half the time in the week. So Salah for me is a danger man, but again, I can't stress it enough. I know everyone. look, those who watch the Champions League in the summer will know that Thiago Alcantara is the most dangerous man with the ball at his feet in a deep lying midfield position. And he should, in theory, be in a Manchester United shirt. But we were sleeping with him, so here we are. So this is a player who is the best in the world at what he does. He does the simple stuff, gets the ball, keeps it, and waits for the option for someone aerially, or will drop it into the spot in that little hole behind the two defensive midfielders. He will distribute the ball from one side to the other. You will see him amass a lot of passes tomorrow. It will be outrageous. He will probably get about the highest stat in the game for passing success rate and for the number of passes he creates. But fundamentally, you don't need to focus on him entirely to stop Liverpool winning the game. You do need to focus on the players who will cause you a threat from the edge of the area. Wijnaldum scores headers. He's basically a jack in the box. He will end up everywhere. No matter wherever you are on the pitch, he will be there. So the Dutchman is a man to keep an eye out for, and has scored big goals in big games before. I mean, I don't know about you, Barca fans, and Atletico Madrid fans will attest to that. But nevertheless, he will always, on a big occasion, turn up. And he may have eyes elsewhere, being attracted by Koeman and his friends in Spain. But one thing's for sure, he's another person I'd be keen to keep an eye on. So while they have defensive problems, I still think Thiago and Wijnaldum are equally as important to keep an eye on. Henderson is just going to be the captain. And you tend to ignore that half the time. But everyone else in the front five, I'd call it a front five, is players to keep an eye on. But Thiago, for me, is a man to watch. You let him run the game, say goodbye to your hopes of winning the match.
Those two players actually that you mentioned, Ahmed. Sorry, Alexi, just real quick. You mentioned that Salah is averaging 3 to 4 shots a game, right? And that's without the maestro that is Thiago, that's playing in the midfield. So he's going to create chances, like you said, over the top, through the lines. He is going to get Mo Salah through on goal, and he's going to create a lot more chances. So actually, in a way, Thiago playing, yes, he's the danger man, but he also makes Salah a lot more dangerous as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've got a point on that, because I agree with you, Ahmed. I'd probably say that Thiago is probably Liverpool's most deadly player, alongside with Salah. The link up they could have is quite deadly, and I think that's why for Manchester United, one of their key players would probably be Luke Shaw. But on Liverpool, I remember this is going back a few years now, when we had Jose Mourinho. We were playing Chelsea at Old Trafford. And we came up against a very similar player in the amount of creative output he could produce. Not how he dictated the play, but just creatively, he was a very dangerous threat. And that was Eden Hazard. Now, we dealt with him very well through a method that Jose used with Ander Herrera, which was...
I call it stalking.
Oh, the man, Mark, I loved it. He was kicking all over the pitch.
So I was looking at it, and I was thinking, say we play a diamond or a 4-2-3-1. When we're attacking or defending, a lot of the time, when Manchester United do that, like they kind of cover the space quite well, because the back four spread themselves out quite wide. Marcus Rashford likes to go out wide and get in behind, and he'll definitely do that against Trent. So we've got a lot of wide play. So in the middle, we don't have a lot of space or coverage. So and that's where Thiago plays his best football. So I was wondering if you guys would think it would be a good idea for Oli to apply a man mark on Thiago, because, as Ahmed, you were saying, and I perfectly agree, if he's linking up with Salah and he plays some of those killer through balls, I mean, I've got some stats here. I'll pull them up for you, Ahmed, because I know you like these.
I was waiting for them.
I like my numbers. Yeah,
1.51 key passes per game, 2.64 shots every 90 minutes for Thiago. Like that, and that's just, and sometimes he can play in McTominay's position in a way. He can just sit back and just play over the long through balls. And he's producing that every 90 minutes. And that's something that, United really need to watch out for, particularly with the fullbacks. I think Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to get your thoughts on this, because I've been thinking about it for a while. Like, what way can we deal with Thiago? Because I feel like he's the main threat. And I feel like a man mark with someone like a Scott McTominay might not be a bad idea. I don't know. What your guys' take on it? I'm not sure.
I think we might. So, do you remember against PSG, we kind of employed this press like off press style. We were pressing something half the game, and then some of the game we weren't. I think that's how you would deal with it, in my opinion. Like, I would love to see Scott man mark him. That'd be fun. Just for like the bands, because I'd love to. Like, I love watching Scott McTominay reminds me of Herrera in the sense the way they really.
That's why I was. That's why I was bringing it up.
Really, he gets under players' skin. The way he plays. But I would like to see us do that off pressing, where when they have the ball in those moments in that space, when Thiago picks up the ball in the middle, press. That's when you press. That's when you go after him. Press. Get the ball to Thiago's feet. If you press him, if he then allow him to move it on quickly, and then you go back. As soon as the ball's out of his foot, I always say hands, but as soon as he doesn't have the ball in possession, as soon as it's out of his possession, you realistically then you settle back and you lay back and you then I think that would confuse them. And it'll allow us to make sure Wijnaldum and Hendo are the ones who have to pull the strings. Like, I don't care if Hendo has the ball at his feet. Cool, that's fine. He can like do a side passing all the way. He can pass back, do what he wants to do. And Wijnaldum's not really a progressive passer in that sense either. He's more of a safe
off the ball runs.
Off the ball runs, safe. He keeps the ball. He looks around, he'll look for Thiago. So if Fred and McTominay are playing, which I believe they will, having those two not man mark, just both of them, just go at Thiago. And then have the Rashford, who's actually really great at tracking back, and have him put pressure every time that ball's moved. That's how I would deal with it. But I mean,
no, I mean, it was agree. I agree, and I would probably say, when I was saying about the point of, United need to interchange tomorrow, and they need to interchange between defending and covering passing lanes to like hitting them on the break with pace and like finding a killer through ball to the strikers. I do think that will be key tomorrow when playing against Liverpool. It's just something I came up with because, we all know how deadly Thiago can be. And I just remember when Manchester United used it against another creative player and another deadly player like Eden Hazard, it worked to perfection. It was just something, I don't know, I just thought of. Because,
Jesse Lingard had himself a game that game, I remember.
Yeah, he did. He did. I mean, who knows? Maybe Mason Greenwood will come out this time and, show us how it's done. I mean, I'd love for that to be the case. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought, but yeah, Thiago is going to be a handful, and I feel like whether Ollie wants to use the double press with Fred and McTominay, or wants to use a man mark with McTominay, I think United need to be on it because they cannot allow him to have time and space in the middle of the park. Because regardless of how many men you have back, how many lines you think you're covering for like Mane and Salah, he can see the game in slow motion. I mean, for me, I think he's the closest player that I've seen to the likes of Xavi, where he can see a play 5 seconds before it's even happened. He's that good. And as Alma said, he's one of the best in the world at that kind of thing. So I don't know. We just need to be on it for him, because as you said, someone was saying how like Salah and Mane have been poor this season, and they have. But when they've got someone behind them that can play a killer through ball, it makes their job so much easier. So, stop the pass, stop the threat before it actually is going to hurt you, where it's Salah in a 1v1 situation and then De Gea is having to, make wonder saves. Because I really don't want to see Manchester United having to be making or relying on David De Gea to like make 14 saves.
I do think he'll be called into action, and I think
sure, but not 14 saves, please. Just please not 14 saves. I don't want 14 saves. I don't want to have a heart attack again. Please, for the love of God.
He's been good though recently. He's been making some really big saves.
Yeah. 100%.
He's come to a lot of criticism, but recently I think he's done really well.
I mean, Cam could speak for that if you want to.
I'm a big David De Gea. Like, David De Gea is basically like, I'd probably say my second favorite player on the team at this point, next to Rashi. I think he's going to come into play, and I do believe he'll do what he needs to do. I wanted to go to Alexi to see what you thought. Who are the danger men on both sides? Because you did cut out when you were going into the speech before, and I was like, I think his third front three is Greenwood, but I'm not sure. Maybe it was Cavani. You got Rashford and Martial out, but tell me on both sides, who do you think the danger men are going to be? How do you think the game's going to play out when it comes to the tactics, in the sense of like, I like what Noah's bringing to the table. How do we deal with a Thiago or whatnot? What do you think? How do you think tomorrow's going to go in the sense of who we need to watch for? Both sides.
See, with the Thiago thing, I was thinking about this while you were discussing this, that this Liverpool team has been arguably one of the best teams for about 10, 20 years in terms of the Premier League. But the incarnation of the team that won Champions League, won the Premier League, it never had a midfielder that could play a killer pass, really, because Coutinho left. And it's always been a very functional midfield. It's always been like Henderson, Wijnaldum, Milner.
Very good
And
point.
it is quite scary playing Liverpool now and going. So they've still got the creative fullbacks, which in itself I think is a big worry. They've still got Salah and Mane. They've still got Firmino creating chances, and they've got Thiago. You're suddenly fighting a lot of battles. So I think I do see the argument for the man marking thing, but we've got a lot of fives to put out because Trent creatively is outrageously good, and Robertson as well. So I think if you were going to man mark Thiago, you'd have to play a diamond, and I think probably have a front two, because you can't fully try and nullify Thiago and then kind of let Arnold, for example, go free, because Arnold is basically like having a top level midfielder passing wise at right back. So Luke Shaw and Rashford are going to have to be on it on his side, and I think that's why even though I wouldn't mind seeing a more enterprising front three, I think it'll be a front two. The reason kind of as well is I might be wrong, but I was thinking big games this season. The only time really I can remember us playing a front three, a conventional front three of Greenwood, Rashford, Marshall, was Tottenham, and we lost 6-1. And after the 6-1, I think he went a bit away from playing them, because Mourinho worked out tactically before the game. He sat down and went, we're playing Man United. He went, Greenwood doesn't track back much. Marshall doesn't track back much. And they just pinged it up the wings, and that was it. So I think the only way we'll see a conventional front three is if he's drilled Greenwood and Rashford or whoever it is into defending and tracking back, because otherwise we don't want to repeat the 6-1, that's for sure.
Yeah, the 6-1's a weird one, though. I still look back on that game, and I remember the first 15, 20 minutes, and I just remember thinking this is going to be a game. I was so excited the way we came out and the way we attacked. And then, of course, the stupid red card that happened to ruin that game. And which is interesting because we do have two players, luckily they'll be there, that are sitting on one yellow away from suspension. I do suspect, and I'm calling this now, I think Bruno will be suspended for Fulham. I don't think Bruno gets through this game without picking up a yellow.
I will get 2 minutes in.
Maybe a blessing in disguise, though. I've seen a lot of people complaining about this and saying, we're going to miss him against Fulham, but that gives Van der Beek an opportunity, and that gives Bruno a rest. So maybe it's going to be a good thing that he actually gets a yellow card. And
I think he's going to do it the Sergio Ramos style, where he knows he misses the next game, and he knows the next game may be a game he could potentially miss and not hurt the team too badly. Because what Bruno does... Go on, yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say, ironically, if he was to not get a card against Liverpool and get a card against Fulham, he'd then miss Liverpool again, wouldn't he, at the weekend?
I don't know if it transfers into the FA Cup, does it?
It does.
Oh, wow.
Okay. You do get suspensions in the FA Cup.
So Bruno, get yellow. Get yellow,
I'm Ollie, I'm telling him. So this is the thing. Bruno had a great comment. I don't know if you guys saw it, where they asked him about yellow cards. He's like, yellow cards are there to be taken. Like, he takes the yellow cards on purpose to get into the ref's head. Like, he gets on the ref. It's a mind game. Sometimes it doesn't work, because sometimes refs get mad at you for that. But if you are constantly going at a ref because you feel something's going wrong, or somebody's kicking you or whatnot, and you make a big fuss in the scene, the ref might be paying more attention to it later. I think that's kind of the game he plays. But I am now praying, now that I know that it does impact the FA Cup, that if I'm Ollie, I'm telling him, all right, Maguire, Bruno, you both got yellows you need to give today. Don't care how it happened. Just make sure they get done. Don't take a red. But that's a big one. I didn't realize it goes into the FA Cup. That's
that could be
ideally he just doesn't get booked, but you can't see that happening. I can't.
The character that he is, I don't really see it. But the good thing is that you got two players that have that and probably need rest, because they probably played the most minutes for Manchester United. And also having the fact that you can make a yellow card and it's kind of whatever. I guess in a sense it's whatever, because United should be able to cope against a team like Fulham. I think one thing that Manchester United sometimes, and other teams in the Premier League don't do enough, in my opinion, is when say for example, a team like Liverpool are on the break, they're counter-attacking from our corner or something, and a player's running in, and all a player needs to do is just make a foul. Referee blows for a free kick rather, and you kill the whole momentum of that play. You know, Bruno and Maguire can do that. You know, they can do that, and it's, I guess in a way it's nice to know, because you know, Liverpool, I can see with their fullbacks, with Thiago playing a through ball to a forward, they can get in behind on the break. So just making a tactical foul from someone like Bruno or Maguire wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And I think Ollie, you know, would like them to probably do that in a way, because it would kill the momentum. And Liverpool are all about momentum. You disrupt their flow, they're not going to be, you know, they're a very similar team like Man City in a different way. If you interrupt Liverpool's pressing movement, they crumble to pieces. The same way if you interrupt Manchester City's passing play, where they play it like 100 times before they score a goal, like Liverpool do. You know, when Liverpool played their high press against Man City, they don't know what to do. You know, as we saw when you know, Liverpool beat them, I think, was it 4-1 or well, no, 4-3, 4-3. But they were winning. They were winning like 4-1 at one point because they were just killing them with the press. Yeah. And I think Manchester United probably need to be a bit careful of that as well. That, you know, this Liverpool team with their top-heavy attack can hurt you in a matter of minutes. So don't be afraid to you know, take a tactical foul and take a booking, Bruno or Maguire or anyone really. Just, you know, be bold in what you need to do, and just be organized as well when you're interchanging, because, you know, I do think they're going to have to interchange whatever the formation, because both formations 4-2-3-1 and Diamond are interchangeable. But yeah, I don't know if what you guys think about it. Would you mind Bruno and Maguire like taking a tactical foul and getting a yellow?
Now that I'm fully aware of the situation, do it.
Yeah, in terms of the team for United, yeah, it makes sense. For me, for my captaincy onto Fantasy Premier League, no. Of course, the game against Fulham, I think you're right. I think if he's to miss anything, that's the game we would ideally want him to miss.
I actually think I didn't pick Bruno as a captain. I mean, I screwed up and kept Kane as a captain. Hopefully he gets a hat trick. I wouldn't have captained Bruno this week, because I wouldn't be surprised if we beat Liverpool. And I'm going to say if we don't, I think we will play a strong team against Fulham again. If we beat Liverpool, we'll see proper rotation in the sense where Donny will come in. And when Donny comes in, it always means Bruno sits. I don't think Ollie trusts Donny playing as a 6 yet, or an 8. He doesn't play him in any of those positions. He always wants to play him in the 10. Even though he doesn't have a lot of progressive passing, I think that'll be one of the big changes we'll see. We'll see Tellus come in. We're going to see a big swap, especially with the back-to-back Liverpool. I believe the team's going to rotate heavily, and especially if we get any results. If we get a draw, if we get the win.
We can even do that. Sorry to interrupt you, Cameron. We can even do that during this Liverpool tomorrow. You know, off the bench. You know, as we were saying with Cavani and Tellez coming on, I think it was maybe Dan that made that point. Or unless it was someone else, and I apologize if I'm stealing your point.
Slight problem, guys. I might have misinterpreted the rule. I've been on the Premier League website regarding yellow cards. Let's just reverse what we just said just now. Here's the official rule. Okay. Any player earning 5 bookings from their first 19 Premier League games for their club will serve a match ban in that competition. So this does not carry. It does not carry into the FA Cup, unfortunately. So Bruno or Luke Shaw, who's also on a yellow card, as well as Harry Maguire, they're all on 4 yellows. Should any of them get booked, they miss Fulham, and they can play against Liverpool next week. So they won't play against Liverpool. They miss Fulham.
Robbie, cut that, please. Robbie, cut that out. Cut that out.
We were wildly celebrating, unfortunately.
I won't lie. Still take the bookings. Because
it's Fulham. It's Fulham.
Each 3 of those guys are going to be in a situation. Shaw, we know for sure. Shaw's just going to be in a situation where he's going to have to foul. It doesn't matter. Yeah. He's going to be in a situation. So, and I'd much rather see, versus thinking, oh, I'm going to miss Fulham. If Mane's about to go down the right, like, you take him out.
Yeah. That's when think like that as well, please. Don't think, oh, I'm gonna get suspended. Think I'm gonna save Liverpool scoring. Yeah, I'm gonna save Liverpool scoring. And I'm gonna, I'm saving the team rather than, oh, I'm not gonna get to play against Fulham and I'm not gonna get goals and assists against Fulham. Oh no. This game this game defines our season. So
Yeah.
make that foul, make that challenge, make the moan to the referee about a penalty that's not even a penalty. I don't care, because if we win, it's huge for any kind of title challenge that Ollie wants. So I completely agree. Don't kind of look at the yellow card thing. Just put your body on the line, please.
I just see it I just see Sarah winning as 3 points closer to the Champions League, guys. So yeah.
Speaking of which, all right, let's get into the score predictions. Ahmed, I want to start with you. What are you thinking?
Oh, I think it's a draw. I don't know if we're gonna be able, when Liverpool turn up the way they do at home, I don't know if we're gonna be able to win. We will have to properly, rat house it tomorrow if we're gonna win this game. Ride it out. Park the bus. I don't know how, whatever logical term for a defense we need, but we've got to do something tomorrow to stop them from getting through us. So ideally, a draw is a good result, because we should focus on winning our home games against these sides. The trouble is, the majority of the games against the top 6 now are away from home and not at home. So we really must not lose these games. I'd go with the draw. I think this is the.
And
more
who your
likely
scores? Who goal scores?
Tough one. That's a tough one. I don't know about that. We scored from a corner last week, which is funny, actually. So I'm going to say we'll score from one again through either Harry Maguire or Scott McTominay. If we're to score in open play, and because I'm thinking it's going to be a 1-1, I think our one and only goal will come from Marcus Rashford, because he loves scoring against Liverpool.
Dan?
It's tricky, man. I mean, ideally, I want to sit here and say, yeah, we're going to take the win. We're going to dominate the game and 3-4-0. But we all know that's not going to happen, or at least we don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be a draw or maybe a goal either way, because Liverpool haven't been in, flourishing goal scoring form since the Palace game. I think they've maybe only scored one or two in each of the games they've played. They've been drawing a lot of games at home as well. So I think it's going to be. I'm going to go 1-0 United.
1-0 United. Who's your goal scorer?
I think Rashford too, man. I think he loves playing against Liverpool. But if Greenwood plays, if he's really on it, he could be another one that might score. And actually, I'm just going to go through the entire team here, because now I'm going to say if Cavani comes on late, he might be the one to get the goal. I'll stick with Rashford.
Alexi.
Oh,
so hard, isn't it?
My heart says, do you know what? Right. It's kind of a separate point. I think if we were to win this game, it would possibly be our biggest win for about 7-8 years. It would just be so huge. And we've now got to a point where we have a manager that's doing well, and we have Bruno, who is like a proper leader on the pitch. Liverpool are there to be got at. Liverpool aren't in good form. So optimistically, I'm going to say 2-1 United. But the thing is, usually when two big teams go into games and one's seen as kind of a favourite, it's not the way it goes, like with Arsenal Chelsea the other week. But yeah, I'll say 2-1 United, and we'll be 6 points clear of the league, and I'll be getting the ribbons out for the title parade.
Who's scoring the goals?
Rashford.
Both. Brace. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rashford, Brace, Noah.
Right. I'll split this into two sections. I'll say what my head's telling me and what my heart's telling me. So what my head's telling me first. We'll give the sensible option. So I think it's going to be 1-1. I think Mo Salah is going to score, and Thiago is going to do an over-the-top through ball assist in behind our defense. And I think Bruno Fernandes is going to get a penalty. I just see it. I really just see it. No matter what result happens, I just see him. I just see Martial or Rashford winning the penalty. I just do, and Bruno will bury it because we know how good he is from penalties. But why I'm seeing it being a draw in my brain is, whilst Liverpool have had the best record at home, they're undefeated. United have the best away record, and both teams in both situations like to attack. But when both teams meet, often in these kind of situations, as Alexi pointed out, you kind of get a stalemate in a way, or a massive upset, like as we saw when we played Tottenham, or like when Chelsea played Arsenal, etc. So, I think a stalemate is probably better. I do think there's going to be goals. I can't see a 0-0 with just the quality and attack that both teams have. I really can't see a 0-0, but I can definitely see a 1-1. And those are my two scorers. But if I'm going with my head, if I'm going with my heart, the way that Manchester United have been playing, because we have been in second before and close to a title challenge with Mourinho, but we weren't playing good football. We weren't really putting teams under. We weren't like punishing teams with our attacking play and all the rest of it.
1-0
but
FC.
but this team is different. I just feel something different with this team, with the manager that we've got, the history that we've got, the players and the leaders on the pitch in all kind of areas. The Maguires, the Brunos, the Cavani's. And Cavani might be on the bench, and we've got a leader on the bench. It's completely different to when we've played Liverpool in previous games. So, whilst I don't think it's going to happen, I can see United getting a 3-1 win. I really can. And I can see, Bruno getting a pen. I can see Rashford getting in behind Trent for a one-on-one. And I can easily see Cavani scoring a header at the near post, just because, Liverpool really struggle with that. But I'm gonna say, realistically, 1-1 draw. That's what I'm going to say to you. But it wouldn't surprise me if it's a 3-1, just because I know how good United have been playing and how Liverpool have fragilities at the minute. Solskjaer should realistically think in his head 3-1. That's what I'm going to say. He should think 3-1. So who knows? I'm
going to end it with I believe it'll be a 2-2 draw. I've said this. I don't believe Liverpool will win this game. I think the worst result for us will be a draw. That's how I'm looking at this game. I think based on form, and this is not to take away from Liverpool. I'm going to show them the respect they deserve. The form they're in I don't believe they'll be able to actually break us down and beat us. I do think so. How I think the game is going to go is I think Martial is going to get a very important goal for his season this season. He's going to show up. I don't think it's not going to be a striker's goal. It's going to be a Martial goal. We're talking a curler from just outside the box. He turns, catches Alisson out. And then I think we're going to get a Bruno penalty at some point in the game. At some point, I don't know where, I don't know when, but I think at some point he'll earn it. It might be Cavani who earns it. It might be Rashford. I think at some point with who they have at the back four right now, when you have, Fabinho, potentially that young kid, potentially Henderson, they're going to be in a situation where they're going to need to foul, I believe, and it's going to be, or even Alisson. I've seen Alisson give away penalties too because he comes out pretty rashly. But I do believe the reason why I'm saying 2-2 is because I think it'll be a 2-1 game until very late in the game. And if you guys have been watching, obviously you have, we still do that thing at the end of games where when we're up, we let the other team come onto us. We allow the other team.
A sub comes on. He'll bring like Matic on for like Cavani or like Rashford or something like that. And it's just like, why not actually put an attacking player on and push them back further? But and then it's like you have,
put it this way,
you have to have Bailly like making like the best defensive clearance of his life to like secure the 3 points or something.
Exactly.
I know exactly what you mean, Cam. 100%.
And if Vydra was any good whatsoever, we would have drawn against Burnley because that man had about 7 chances in the last 3 minutes of the game. Balls falling to his feet, players scrambling. You could just feel the nerves. You can feel the stress. And if we do that against Liverpool, they won't be stressed. They won't be nervous. When the ball falls to Salah or somebody in that situation, they're going to just be like...
They've done it this season against Tottenham. They've done it
exactly. So that's where my heart says that we mentally figure that out. And it goes 2-1. But the truth is, it'll probably be a 2-2 draw, in my opinion. And that's where I'm going to leave the stream. That's where we're going to end it off. Fellas, it's been a great one. I appreciate everybody coming on. We'll be back for the review. Hopefully I'm sober. We'll see. If we win, I might not be. Just a heads up. Anybody watching, like, subscribe. We're going to be putting out more and more content. It's going to keep going all into next year. Trafford Talk. Check us out. Peace.
See you guys.